just like that, this thing looks absolutely fantastic. Alrighty guys, so we just took this car on its first like canyon run, I guess you could say. It is dirty, dirty, dirty. I definitely need to detail this thing, but what we're gonna be doing today is actually cutting and wet sanding and buffing basically all of the bugs out of my front clip paint job that I did. If you guys didn't know, I actually sprayed this thing in my backyard outside in the dirt, and this is the outcome. It's a base coat, clear coat. You can see there's some orange peel going on. Realistically, not the best conditions I sprayed, and you can see all the bugs. These are all bugs. Well, it's obviously dirty, so there's bugs on it. Nevertheless, the paint job came out really good. Like, it's not bad, but you can definitely see the orange peel. So if you aren't familiar with orange peel, it literally looks like the surface like of an orange. You look at the outside of an orange and you see that. But I can wet sand that out. So this entire car looked like that, and I have since made all of that go away. So I'm gonna do it on this one. So my buffer, ironically enough, is over at a buddy's house. So I'm going to go over there. Wow, it looks like he's definitely rubbed a little bit. Okay, those are hot and sticky. Wow, I went through a lot of tread life. Oh, those are rubbing. Wow, those are rubbing. I didn't realize that. Oh my God. Okay, well anyways, so that was rubbed. But my buddy Chris has my buffer. I let him use it on his Firebird, so we're gonna go over there and pick it up and actually see what his Firebird looks like, because it looked like a chalkboard. So I'm curious to see what it came out like. All right, come on, old reliable. Whoop. God, this thing sounds so rad. I'm convinced I have like the best sounding exhaust for a Fox body. Not just because it's mine. I don't know what it is, I just like this one a lot. Just got over to Chris's, realized Sean left his Pop-Tart in there from this morning, and it's probably all smashed up from him jumping on it. And there's that. That's cool. Only the real OGs remember that truck. If you do, comment below. All right, buffer secured, and look at this beaut. Man. Nice. How old do you think this paint job is? It's gotta be 30 plus. That is not bad, dude. All right. You can see my bad tan line in the... All right, now we're back. It's time to finally wash this thing. It definitely needs it. And the one thing I realized is I was ripping it so hard I lost a freaking center cap on this side, and no wonder it looks so weird. I was like, where's my, oh damn it, and then yeah, so that's gone somewhere. I lost that. That's probably on the side of a cliff or something. Oh, I lost this one too, are you kidding me? Oh man. Wow, that means these wheels kind of suck, because that means they flexed enough to pop the caps out. So I lost both front caps. How the hell does that even happen? I have no clue that happened. Both? But no rears. The rears are still there on both sides. They're like about to fall out? No? Well, alright, well, I guess I'm gonna have to get some caps. That sucks, that's annoying. I don't know why that happened either. Yeah, the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna wash the entire car, get it all clean, and then we're gonna go ahead and start with probably about 1,000 grit, work our way up to 3,000 grit, then do a cut, then a polish. And so it should, after that, look like a mirror. So, here's kind of your before. There we go. Alright guys, so now it's actually decently clean. The one thing I want to show, getting the fender nice and wet, at least as wet as I can. Look at that. It just beads water and it's dry. So that's going to be kind of entertaining. But what I'm doing is I'm starting off with 1,000 grit on a block, which I got right there. And I'm pretty much just going to go in an X pattern all the way across this thing using a pretty liberal amount of water because I don't want to do this dry. I want to keep it nice and lubricated as I'm going across. I don't want it sanding marks or scratches. It just makes it harder to get out later. So start 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, I think 2,500 if I have it, up to 3,000 cut and polish. Let's get after it. So the one thing I want to show real quick is you're probably going to get kind of nervous once you start obviously taking sandpaper to your car after you just painted it. You're going to be like, whoa, this is very scary, especially on black paint. But, so I've already done over here, so you can see that glass finish now. It's already a mirror just being wet. So I haven't buffed anything obviously, but you can kind of see, there we go, now you can see it. So that's the orange peel that we're trying to get out. So if I come over here, you can see it's not there anymore. You can see there's some pieces. So what I'm doing, keeping it wet, and you'll feel where it's working versus when it's just water in between the materials. So as I go back and forth a couple times, this is 1,000 grit, you can see it starts to come out. So that's what we're trying to do on the entire thing. So you can do this on literally any car. If you have crappy orange peely paint that somebody sprayed 20 years ago and it sucks, this is how you can fix it. So I'm gonna repeat that process across the entire car. This is gonna take a while. All right guys, so after probably about 3 hours of sanding, my dad came out and helped me sand, which was very helpful. We got pretty much everything sanded. So this is what I'm talking about. So you have this very consistent gray finish. Now, if I come along the side, like you can barely see a couple of these, like it's so hard to pick up. You can kind of see like these little dots. The little dots are what I'm talking about. So obviously I have some more work to do right here. Down low you can see the orange peel, so that's what you're trying to get out. So I'm not 100% done, but you can definitely tell I've gotten pretty much like 90% of it out. So the hood looks good. There's some spots I think right around here. Yeah, I got some spots right here I gotta do, and then same thing on the bottom of the fender. So, but this is really what you're looking for. So it might scare you at first, being like, oh my god, I just ruined my paint. But this is just dull, flat clear coat. You want the most consistent flat finish you can get. The more you do now, the better it'll look and less work you have to do when you're buffing it. So I'm gonna pick this up in the morning. It's starting to get dark, I'm not sure. It shouldn't rain. We'll be able to buff it out in the morning. So I'm gonna finish sanding it right and early in the morning, and we'll get to buffing it. Alright guys, so now you can see the consistent finish that I was talking about. There's really no orange peel. I mean, there's a couple. I'm never gonna get it perfect. There's a couple tiny little spots. I don't really care. It's a driver. I'm not trying to make a show car here. I'm trying to make something nice that I can drive around and be proud of. So you can see now we have some sanding scratches. Let me find a little bit more consistent spot. So we have a very consistent shine going all the way across this thing. A very nice dull color, which is actually what we want. You can see there's a lot of sanding lines from us going across and stroking it different directions and circles and X's and whatnot. So now we need to go up in grit size. So we'll basically go up in 500 increments, 1500, 2000, 2500, and at 3000. Then you will see less lines and a more consistent dull, like a satin finish. And then we'll do a cutting pass on a buffer and then a polishing pass. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of go through all the different grits and I'll come back when it's all sanded. Alright guys, so the sanding process is finished. Finally, it's taken a lot longer than I wanted to, but like I've said, if you didn't suck at painting like I did, and you did a better job painting this, it goes way faster. You don't even sometimes have to start with 1,000 grit or 1,500. You could start at like 2,000 or whatever. But once you get through that initial 1,000 or 1,500, getting all of that orange peel out, you can go through and just scuff it up with each grit, 500 up a piece, and you knock it out very, very quickly. So what you're looking for once it's done, you'll see I have a canopy over it to keep the panels cool, but you can see like a satin semi-gloss glistening over the hood. If I kind of walk around here, like you can see it reflects light. That's what you want. If it's not reflecting light, you need to sand it more. Also, if you can see any sort of sanding scratches, you need to go back and do it again. Just because you can see the side of this panel is very consistent and very flat. That's what we want. Obviously, like I said, it's not totally perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. But you can see that consistent glisten going across the hood. That's what we want. It'll give us our best outcome. So what I'm going to be doing is going with the cutting pass. So I'm going to use my bread and butter, which I use on every car I polish. So it's just a Bauer 6-inch random orbit from Harbor Freight. Very generic polisher, works really well. Medium cut pad. I probably would be using a coarse one, but I don't think I need it. I also don't have one. And then we're going to use our good old Meguiar's 105 Ultra Cut Compound. This is like the greatest stuff ever made. We're going to be actually very conservative with this. So you really just need like 5 dots on the pad. Wet the pad down, which I have a spray bottle, which I have no clue where it went. So I have a spray bottle with just water in it. So I'll go ahead and I'll wet the pad. Nothing too crazy, just a little bit, just so it's not dry, because obviously you don't want to dry, it'll just scratch it. And then we'll do 5 dots, 5 or 6 dots of the Meguiar's 105 on it. We'll spread it around. And what we'll be doing is a low speed pass to spread the material. We'll probably be doing between 1 and 2 on the speed. Then we'll do a medium speed pass where it's the same thing in an X kind of up and down and side to side pattern around 3 to 4 speed. And then once we don't see any material and we can kind of see a shine, we'll do a speed pass between 5 and full speed, which is 6, going really quickly to just kind of scuff it up and we can do a quick polish. So I'm gonna get after it. Alrighty, so I'm gonna start at the top of the fender, and you can see not that much material. You don't need it, you're just gonna waste it and saturate the pad. Just kind of hand spread it on. Holy shit. Alright guys, there's one fender done. Probably done, I'll probably do a couple more passes, but definitely see the difference. Very, very sharp, crisp line. I wouldn't even say it's, you know, fuzzy. You can literally see my mouth when I'm moving and talking, but yeah, there's the comparison right there. So it looks scary at first, but I promise it's fine. And I'm no detailer by any means, so don't take necessarily what I'm doing. Everything has to be this way. It doesn't. There's a billion ways to buff a car. There's a billion ways to wet sand a car. There's a billion ways to make cereal. At the end of the day, no matter what order you do it, you pour your milk first and put your cereal in, you're a psychopath, but you're still gonna end up with cereal. So I'm gonna keep buffing. Alright you guys, well this is our outcome after a good old cut and buff. This is just buffed, coarse pad, Meguiar's 105 like I showed. This is the outcome. Come on, it's pretty good. You can still see there's some sanding scratches I gotta get out. Very minor, very, very minor. I mean, I could leave it just like this and you would never, I mean, it's ridiculous how good it looks just from here. The one thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna take some Meguiar's. I thought I had polish, I guess I don't, but I do have some of this. I'm gonna go ahead and use some of this, some glaze. It's good to take out some sanding scratches and swirls and whatnot. So it's going from a 105, which is a heavy cut, to a medium cut. And then I have a polishing pad. So I'm just gonna do a real quick high speed over the whole thing. And then I think I'll probably call it at that. And then I'll rewash the whole car because the rest of the car got really dirty from doing all this. And we'll call it. I'm pretty stoked with it though. It looks really good. Really good. right, guys, and just like that, we're done. This thing looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's not perfect. I don't want to act like it is. I'm trying to like get as many of the imperfections to show as I can, so you guys can see that just like nobody else, I'm not perfect. It could definitely use maybe one more round of sanding and one more round of cut and polishing and whatnot, but overall, I mean, this thing is miles different than what we had. I mean, you could just see how clear I show up, even down here, going over the bumper. There's a couple imperfections on the bottom. You know, I want to purposely show you guys imperfections. Unfortunately, this being black paint is very difficult to get the camera to focus. Top of the bumper looks pretty much perfect. You can see where the bumper was split right here. So there's where that imperfection is. See that guy? Very hard to tell. I had 3 holes in the bumper right here. Let's see if I can get them to show up. Yeah, you can't really see them. You can barely see one of them right there. You can still see sanding scratches, so I don't want to like say that I'm perfect here, but I just kind of had to knock this out. I've done everything you see here pretty much by myself, besides the little bit of wet sanding my dad helped me with, you guys saw, which is really helpful. I made that go by a lot faster. But realistically, this is something you can do at home. This isn't by any means perfect, but it'll definitely get the job done. You can see on this side where all the thin paint is because I ran out of paint. That's probably the most embarrassing part of this whole thing, but you know, it is what it is. It's one of those things where this fender definitely needs to get repainted. You can see some more sanding scratches I definitely could get out if I cared enough, which I probably will. Here's the difference between a better door and then the fender. So this fender is probably the worst spot on the car, just simply because, I mean, look at it, it doesn't really matter to me. The hood looks amazing. Very happy with that. Going all the way up, you can actually see all the little bugs that still were in it. There's that fat bug that was right in the center of the hood. That pisses me off. I'm about to stare at that thing every single time. Look, you can still see it from here. This thing's fantastic. When I wet sanded just a little bit too much, so I took some of the material off the edge of the bumper there. I'll have to have a touch-up pen. I'll touch that up, no big deal. I did the same thing over here, accidentally. See the yellow? So I'll have to touch those up. Like I said, not a big deal. I'm not too worried about it. But overall, I cannot say anything better. I don't like to brag, but I'm pretty damn proud of myself about that. I painted that, I think like 2 weeks ago. For no more than 1 day has it been stationary. I've been driving it in between bodywork, in between sanding, in between painting. I stopped to sand and finally paint it. The next morning I took it to a car show, so it's been constantly getting driven. So there realistically is no excuse. If you have a project, don't be one of the people that have it sit in your garage for 10 years because it has to be perfect. This is not your firstborn child. This is not your favorite family member. This is a car. This is something that you will enjoy way more if it looks decent, if it's an 8 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10, but you get to enjoy it rather than spend all this time and all this extra money making sure it's absolutely perfect, and you'll feel a hell of a lot better be doing it yourself. So I painted the whole thing, the whole front of this thing. Everything you see here was stuff I already had in my garage. Obviously the buffer is about $100. You're looking at probably $20 in materials to buff it out, and then just miscellaneous sandpaper. But there's absolutely no way, if you had 0 materials or 0 anything, you'd be over $500 in what I just did. You'd probably be 400 max at that if you're buying very expensive stuff. You can get out to the 200 or 300 mark if you're playing it pretty cheap and you have absolutely nothing, no tools or anything. So keep that in mind. So very happy with the way this thing came out. Hope you guys went on to learn something. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. It really mean a lot to me. And I'll see you guys in the next video with the Fox Body.